This section in the text, chapter 17, section 3, has one of the most, I think, profound passages about what forgiveness is, and then one of the most challenging sections on the insidiousness of our egos. If you just look at that first paragraph, it's a huge paragraph, but the first, 6 lines, kind of tells you this powerful definition of forgiveness. It says, to forgive is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. Now, I want to stop right there, because that's almost impossible for us to do. That's why you need, a healing vision that sees all things as pure. That's why you really do need to rely on the Holy Spirit, because we constantly see other stuff besides only the loving thoughts that were there and those that were given us. It says all the rest, other than that, must be forgotten. And that's hard for us to let go of, for ourselves or for others. It says forgiveness is a selective remembering based not on your selection. Because again, you would select the stuff that reinforces the unworthiness in you or in others. It's not based on your selection. It is based on a vision that sees all things as pure. So it's going to be based on the vision of the Holy Spirit, or the selection of the Holy Spirit. It says, for the shadow figures that we would focus on, that's what those are, that you would make immortal, are enemies of reality. Because we want to focus on all the things we did wrong, the ways we fell short, or the ways that others fell short. Those are the mortal enemies of reality, of truth. Be willing, it says, to forgive the Son of God for what he did not do in reality. Now, you may say, but people did do something, and that may be true. Something did happen, but it did not change someone's reality. They did not do this in reality, meaning nothing can hurt the Holy Son of God himself. And if that is you, nothing can harm you in any way. And that's why that's the truth about us. That's why we need a vision that sees all things as pure, that can only be given to us as we become more pure vessels, like you were saying, Bo, that you felt that on a deep level, that we move past all the other distractions and background noise and get to that focus of peace right here, right now, that Christ is giving us. That's the awareness we want to find. The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate that they did what they did not. That something happened to change the eternal truth about you. That something happened to change the eternal truth about someone else. That you could only be the lowly caterpillar when you don't realize that you are the butterfly within that. See, that's the difference. We get caught in that limited perspective. Those are the shadow figures. And we're comfortable with the shadows because we spend a lot of time there. We dwell there a lot. So it makes sense. We get used to it. So it's hard for us to break out of that. And that's where this section is talking about, that when you spend time there, you spend time in separation. Separating yourself from who you are, separating yourself from a vision that unifies you, and separating yourself from others. Separating yourself from a vision that unifies you with them. So look at the second paragraph, just the very first couple lines. It says, it is these shadow figures that would make the ego holy in your sight, meaning you got used to them, you think they are who you are, and so you kind of love them. We love our illusions, and we feel we would be lost without them. Karen casually said, I'm always late, right? So these are interesting habits we get into of how we think about ourselves. I'm never good at this. Of course I'll do that. I'll mess up. These are things that we get comfortable with. And they need to be looked at, not judged. We don't judge ourselves. You have to judge yourself or look at them so they no longer have power over you. Allow the Holy Spirit to kind of transform those thoughts. So it says, these shadow figures that would make the ego holy in your sight and teach you what you do to keep it safe and is really love. So we hold on to these, we keep them safe, we think that's love, but it is not. It does not heal us, it separates us. The shadow figures always speak for vengeance, and all relationships into which they enter are totally insane. So these things that seem to separate us, well, a good example in that movie, yes. everybody was trying to figure out and be separate. I always love it. To me, it's the scientific community. Whenever you see or hear about it, the scientific community always wants to share, because they know that the information these scientists give can help us, these scientists, and we can give it and help them, and we all share. But governments get real scared. You know, they work in covert operations, and so they feel safer in the darkness, you know. And I'm not going to get there, but I'm not going to go any further than that. But it's just, I'm not going to judge science being better than government. I'm just saying it's interesting to see the perspectives that we look at. And we can see that duality inside of us as well. So I'm not saying that means then you go out and tell everybody everything, because I don't know if everybody's ready to hear everything that you're going to talk about. But what I am going to say is you probably do need to bring the Holy Spirit into even those things that you hold into the shadows and in the darkness, even about yourself, your judgments about yourself. Anyway, let me just quickly, I'm going to read the third paragraph. We only have a couple of minutes here. So, in the unholy relationship, it is not the body of the others with which union is attempted, but the bodies of those who are not there. So what it's saying is, in an unholy relationship, it's never about the two of you. It's about all your past and all their past. It's about all the judgments we hold on to. It is always about not joining. For even the body of another, already a severely limited perception of him, which is true about us, our bodies are never a full perception of us. We know we're so much deeper than that. We know we're so much more than that. Is not the central focus as it is, or in eternity. What can be used for fantasies of vengeance, and what can be most readily associated with those on whom vengeance is really sought, is centered on and separated off as being the only parts of value. Meaning, the only things we want in a relationship to separate are those things that reinforce separation. Like I told you about that in the movie, the Chinese taught the aliens to speak in terms of attack. Chess, attack, defend, take, conquer. So the aliens responded, attack, defense, take, conquer, and scared them. Then all of a sudden the Chinese go, why are they attacking us and talking about attack? Because that's what you fed them. This is what we feed in those relationships. So every step taken in the making and maintaining and the breaking off of the unholy relationship is a move toward further fragmentation and unreality. That's kind of what they experienced. The shadow figures enter more and more, and the one in whom they seem to be decreases in importance. All that matters is defense and attack. Defense and attack. It goes on to say, time is indeed unkind to the unholy relationship, for time is cruel in the ego's hands as it is kind when used for gentleness. And I'm going to stop there because we don't have enough time to go any farther. But the important thing here is the unholy relationship, or these relationships that are made to reinforce anger and attack, teach what we give. What we extend, they teach back to us. So what do you want to extend then? It makes perfect sense. If I don't want to teach separation, to experience that back to me, then I need to teach only love, for that is what I am.